This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. I've spoken many times. I really have no count. 20 times maybe, specifically in videos about Tucker Carlson. And he's a Fox News host. Well, he took over for Bill O'Reilly. Tucker Carlson, not only is he not even a low-key white supremacist, he's right up top level, putting it all out there on a nightly basis, saying that immigrants make our country dirtier and poorer. He's also a vacuous dummy. He's also a rich kid who has been handed everything in his life, never having done a single day's hard work, earning something on his own. Everything that he has been given to him. He has created nothing. He has produced nothing. He is the poster child of white privilege, of white, rich privilege. Last night on his show, he went into this diatribe, as he often does, about the movement of anti-racism. Asking questions like, who are these people? They're faceless, they're nameless, they're online trolls trying to tell you what to do and to take your rights away. Destroy the country. And I'm going to play a clip, 2 clips from what he did last night. Some of it is just laughable on its face because it's so ridiculous. He invokes the Muppets, the Sesame Street puppets, as the group that's trying to take away, who want to take over the country, cancel your rights, and eliminate our centuries-long tradition of tolerance. Watch this jackassery.
Who are the people trying to take over your country, cancel your rights, eliminate our centuries-long tradition of tolerance, yes, tolerance, and of free expression? And the truth is, we often don't know their names. They're mostly faceless political agitators who exist primarily online. They're trolls who thrive on cruelty. And yet suddenly they have immense power over all of us. Weak leaders now reflexively bow to their demands, no matter what those demands are. Why is that? What's changed? Well, that's a much longer conversation. We probably ought to do an entire show on that topic. And if the news ever calms down long enough to think in bigger terms, well, we will do that. But for now, it's enough to say that the country's defenses have been badly weakened by decades of relentless propaganda, all of it designed to make us feel that we have no right to stand up for ourselves, to stand up for our country. We are too sinful to resist. We deserve whatever we get. Shut up and take it, America. We could spend days showing you examples of this, but here's just the very latest. It's from CNN over the weekend.
Oh. Yeah, I'm bringing this sign to the protest at the community center later.
Oh. They look upset. Are the protesters sad?
They are sad and upset, and they have every right to be, Elmo. People are upset because racism is a huge problem in our country. Across the country, people of color, especially in the black community, are being treated unfairly because of how they look.
It's a children's show. Got that, Bobby? America is a very bad place, and it's your fault. So no matter what happens, no matter what they do to you when you grow up, you have no right to complain.
So I guess he's, probably talking about me, but he's also talking about the Sesame Street puppets. If it wasn't so just vile, it would be a little funny. But there is evil intent here. There is malign motivation here with Tucker Carlson. Because first of all, the Muppets and what they were, the Sesame Street gang, what they were doing there was a town hall for kids. And they're explaining in a way, getting down on children's level, explaining to them what is happening in our country right now in a way they can understand. They're seeing things on TV invariably Children are more connected now than ever because of the internet. And for sure, they're seeing what's going on. And they're crying out for an explanation as to what they're seeing in the streets. That we have a president that is dispatching the military in an attack on peaceful protesters, gassing peaceful protesters in the street right outside the White House. And children are bearing witness to this, and they're owed an explanation. And since the kids aren't tuning in to my show, what better place to get the information than from Sesame Street? And then there's a couple points I want to talk about, though. When he says, "You got that, Bobby? America is a very bad place, and it's your fault. And no matter what happens," well, let's just talk about that. It's your fault. No one is saying, especially in the clip he played, most certainly not in the clip he played, no one is saying that it's little Bobby's fault. It's straw man after straw man. It is a ridiculous thing to even assert with your stupid pie hole, Tucker Carlson, rich brat Tucker Carlson. This other part is a little bit more concerning because it really gets to the depth of, it really is a laser pinpoint on where his mind is. No matter what they do to you, you have no right to complain. What?
So no matter what happens, no matter what they do to you when you grow up, you have no right to complain.
And no matter what happens, no matter what they do to you, you have no right to. Who's the they? Who's the they, Tucker Carlson? What they? You talking about black folks? That's really the only interpretation I think that could be made there. Who's the they that you're talking about? No matter what they do to you, it's always going to be your fault. Disgusting. And then he takes aim at Robin DiAngelo, who wrote the book White Fragility. Great book. You should read it. It is good. Look, everything I read, and I've got many books, I read stuff from both sides too. But everything someone reads and writes, I don't necessarily agree with. But it's the general thesis of what they're talking about that you should take away. And her book is fantastic, and you should read it and take away some of the main thesis points. It's beautiful. But he takes one particular sentence from an interview and then twists it and makes it say something, makes it into something she's saying that she didn't say. Here's the clip.
Robin DiAngelo is one of the people who changed how our professional class understands the term racism. DiAngelo is the author of the barely literate but deeply influential book, White Fragility. You've probably heard some sociology professor yapping on CNN and using that term, white fragility. Robin DiAngelo did an interview with Esquire magazine this week, and she announced that claiming you're not racist is no longer good enough. In fact, it's evidence you're a racist. Quote, "I would urge white people to remove the phrase, 'I'm not racist,' from their vocabularies." You got that new rule? They spring up out of nowhere like mushrooms after rain, but you'd better take heed. People who say they are not racist are especially racist. Got that? It's the Chinese finger trap of race guilt. The harder you struggle against the accusation, the less likely you are to get out of it, the more likely you are of being punished for it. So stop resisting, sit back and take it. You have no choice, racist. That's what they're telling you.
Well, again, that's not what she said, Tucker. She didn't, there's not a new rule, Tucker Carlson. The quote you wrote, the quote you posted from the article that you had on screen said, "I urge white people to remove the phrase, 'I'm not racist,' from their vocabularies." Urge. She urges that. It's a suggestion. It's not a rule, dipshit. You googly-eyed feather duster. And then Tucker Carlson goes on to say that people who say they're not racist are especially racist. Got that? That's not what she said. She didn't intimate that. That wasn't there to be read between the lines. But here's what I'm going to do. since Tucker Carlson is being disingenuous, he's being intellectually dishonest like he is every single moment of his miserable life, I'm going to read what she wrote or what she responded to in that interview with the rest of the quote. Not only did she say, I would urge white people to remove the phrase, I'm not racist, from their vocabularies. She did say that. But what followed was, every explicitly racist act that we can identify and recognize was perpetrated by people who say, I'm not racist. That phrase is functionally meaningless, and when we say it, we are not convincing black people of its truth. What we are conveying when we claim not to be racist, as we live in a society in which racism is the foundation, we are saying that we have no critical understanding whatsoever of this issue, that we have no skills in navigating this conversation. It's that first part that followed the part that he left out. Every explicitly racist act that we can identify and recognize was perpetrated by people who say, I'm not racist. Richard Spencer claims not to be a racist. David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the KKK, claims to not be a racist. Jared Taylor, Donald Trump has proclaimed it hundreds of times. I'm the least racist person in the world. They all say they're not racist. James Field Jr., is that the guy's James Alex Field Jr., the maniac who killed Heather Heyer in Charlottesville, claims to not be a racist. It is meaningless to say you're not a racist. It puts you in the company of people like Richard Spencer and Donald Trump. Dr. Ibram X. Kendi is a professor. I think he's moving to Boston University. He wrote this book, Stamped from the Beginning, The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America. Get this book before you get White Fragility. Fantastic read. Invaluable information. He tweeted this that rings a parallel to what D'Angelo said. I'm not a racist. I did not mean to harm that man in any way, Amy Cooper said. I think I was just scared. Why were you scared? Why did you fear the black male? Fear harms. The heartbeat of racism is denial. The sound of denial, I'm not a racist. Look, Tucker Carlson's entire motivation here is to stir up fear in white people that the country they know and love, especially older white people, that the country they know and love and grew up in, whether it be in the 50s or the 60s or the 40s, is no longer their country anymore. That there's this new mob of leftist agitators and people of color, black and brown people all over the country who are going to come and take your country. It's no longer going to be yours. And that is nonsense. America is America. And every day it gets a little better. Now, we've taken a few steps back with Donald Trump, absolutely. But the racial makeup of our country is changing. It's becoming more of a melting pot, the melting pot we've always talked about. There is inclusion. And that should not scare you. Because a more diverse country is a healthier, stronger country. When we have people in leadership positions and elected office who have different lived experiences than us, it lends itself to a better ruled country, a more healthy governed country. And that is something that Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and Donald Trump are petrified of. They want more white people, not fewer. They want fewer black people, not more. That is it in a nutshell. Anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think. I know a couple of those clips were a little longer than I normally play, or the first clip was a little longer than I normally play, but context matters. And I think sometimes the news puts things down into really just bite-sized fast food snippets that they don't give you the full context. So I gave you 1 minute and 51 seconds on one and a little over a minute or so on the other. I think it's important to digest things in fuller contextual pieces. Anyway, 714-576-4054. I'd love to hear from you. I'm trying to get on a track of doing a weekly mailbag episode. I do them right now about every other week. I know it's terrible. I'm lazy. I need to get on my stuff. I will do it. Also daily at dollemore.com. I do listen to every voicemail. I do read every single email. I block out what ends up being a couple hours a day to do it because I get a lot of communication and I love you for it. I appreciate it. The other thing is, if you are in a financial position to do so, I would appreciate you just considering becoming a channel member here on YouTube. You can click the button down there, the join button, and for fewer than $2 a month, you can help support my work. Independent media is important. Like I always say, though, if there's somebody else that you get more value from, support that person. Give them your $2 a month or whatever you choose, whatever tier you choose. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.